down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. He'll be looking at the checkered flag. This time by William Sawalich, picking up career win number 2.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hitting the Curbs podcast. And this time around, we got an interview with William Sawalich. But Hector, you want to take us to our first question?
William, the first question for you today is a pretty simple one, and it's, what began your interest in stock car racing?
I had a friend when I lived in Minnesota, and he was really interested in NASCAR. So I also wanted to be interested in NASCAR because I had a love for cars and pretty much anything with 4 wheels. So I got into watching NASCAR, and I wanted to learn how I could do that myself. So I got into quarter midget racing, and here I am now.
What was like the change from late models to ARCA stock cars, and do you prepare any differently?
Yeah, so I was used to running super late models, and then the transition to ARCA was a bit different, but everything's pretty much similar. The tire compound's a little different just to get used to, and just how heavy the ARCA car actually is. But ARCA car is a little bit less horsepower, so you can really get the throttle. And same with the super, but you also have to be easier with it. So they're pretty much similar, but they're both a blast to drive.
You're in a car that's leading the ARCA East points and, has back-to-back championships in ARCA East. So do you feel any pressure put upon you under those conditions?
No, I think we got a good lead right now in the points to where I can be, comfortable in a race and maybe even get a second or third place. But my goal is to always win every race I'm in, and I definitely have that opportunity with Joe Gibbs Racing, and I'm very grateful for it.
And I got another question for you. So, in your first Truck Series start, you got a top 10. What was your initial reaction after getting that result?
Yeah, no, I was really pleased with that. I think we could have had a little better if I didn't have the contact with 42 and maybe some longer green flag runs, because we had a really good Tricon truck there. So I was really happy with that. I'm also really happy to do my next one's Mid-Ohio, and then a bunch of other short tracks after that. And short tracks are really fun to me, and I can't wait.
And in that race, for your first truck race, what was it like racing on an oval in the rain? That must have kind of threw you for a loop before the race even begun.
Yeah, that was really different. I think the Tricon trucks were one of the best teams with the rain tires on, so that was definitely an advantage for me, just to kind of get going and get a little head start and gain some track position. I think either way, we had a really good truck, and just to learn everything that those guys have done over the years and all their experience combined, it really helped me in my career.
And did you have to drive the track any differently, take a different line? How'd you adapt?
It was just a little bit looser, just pretty much total grip loss. There's not as much tread as a slick tire. And it was just really loose on exit, so I had to be really easy with the throttle. And compared to everybody else, I was really hooked up, so I could get the throttle faster and make some passes on exit.
The most recent race was at Portland, and somehow, in some way, you came across the line. Half your front end was gone, no hood. How'd you do it?
I think just not giving up and just keep trying. We were lucky with the 2 that spun out in the last corner just to get fourth. We were running 6th at the time, but I think we had top 5 times going on there in the long run, especially. So I was really impressed with how good the car was, even with no nose and lacking a lot of front downforce. So I was lacking just turning all the high-speed corners, but I could get everybody in the low-speed corners. So that was kind of my advantage. And I remember every time on the straightaway, every time I pull out to try and pass somebody, it'd just be a big parachute on the front of my car. I couldn't do anything.
And from that race, what can you take from that race? Racing with the Xfinity guys who came over, and put that towards Sonoma later today.
Yeah, I think. There was an opportunity to race with them, but again, I also ran into an Xfinity guy, so that's kind of what ended my day, even though I had a really fast car. So I think today I'm just going to take it a little easier on the first few laps and take it as a big learning experience, and just try and learn as much as I can from these guys.
I know that Portland was a was a big thing, and ARCA has been the main focus this year. However, you did one truck start at the beginning of the year, and then now you're turning over to do 4 truck starts in a month and a half. How do you balance that with the ARCA starts and like the planning for all of those races bunched together?
Yeah, I think I just take the truck as a different race car, but also the same kind of concept. Just get out there, drive it, and do my best, and really just learn everything. These races are all about learning for me now, and just as I keep growing, even I don't think learning ever stops. So just continue to do that, and I'll be at my best.
The first one is that who's your favorite driver growing up and why?
My favorite driver growing up was Jeff Gordon because I got to meet him a few times. Really nice guy, really cool driver to root for. And I'm also good friends with Richard Petty. He's a good family friend. So even though I didn't never got the chance to watch him race, he's a really cool idol.
Series has always been sort of a dream for you to race in.
The NASCAR Cup Series for sure. That's been my goal since day one. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting there someday.
Yeah. Kind of like some goals you have, like short-term and long-term goals you have for your career.
Yeah, so I think for this year, the ARCA East Championship was definitely in play. And then long term, just get some Xfinity wins under the belt once we get there, and then some championships, and pretty much win every race I can.
This week, you're going to have a teammate in Sammy Smith in the 81. This is going to be the first time you're going to have a teammate with you in the ARCA Menard series this season. So, has Sammy helped you in any ways to prepare for Sonoma? And
Yeah,
how will that teammate dynamic work?
Yeah, no, we've talked a little bit. I think all the learning is going to be on the track, and just maybe if I get the chance to be behind him, he's really good in the ARCA cars and especially on road courses. So, and he's been in Xfinity for a while now, and he's been learning from those guys. So he's been in lots of different environments, and he's definitely a good one to learn from.
Right after this, you have practice and qualifying for the ARCA Menard series. So, in ARCA versus trucks, you have non-competitive pit stops. So, how was that transition in going into trucks, having live pit stops? How'd you get used to it? How'd you adapt to it?
Yeah, it's different. It's very stressful. Martinsville, I was kind of lucky to get maybe one live pit stop, but it was in the rain, so it didn't matter too much. It was kind of controlled. But I've been practicing. I've been going to the pit school practice and just practicing with the guys, just entering and leaving the box. There's all different types of scenarios of what can happen versus an ARCA race where you just pull in and wait for 5 minutes. So it's definitely a bigger part of the game than I thought of.
Another one that we have, which is your favorite nickname that you've ever had?
I think my favorite nickname is the one I still have, which is Rooster. It used to be the Raging Rooster when I was little in quarter midgets, but now it's just Rooster. I think it's pretty cool, and it got its name because I used to raise chickens, and we just kind of tried to come up with a name, and it's Rooster now.
What's your favorite type of track to go to? I know all short tracks, but that one track that comes across the board on the schedule and you just pin it. Which one is that? Which one you pin?
I'm excited for Iowa for sure. I think that's just going to be a different challenge for me. I've never been to something like that. I guess Dover is the closest thing I've been to. And it's also kind of a short track as well as a bigger track for me. And then I think Milwaukee will be pretty cool. I ran in there in a super before and did really well there, so I'm excited to see how the ARCA car handles there.
Do you have to kind of change your mindset any differently from hopping in one car to another? Because once you've been in one car so long, you kind of just stay and drive like you're in that car.
Yeah, for sure. It takes a little bit to go from one to another. I know at North Wilkesboro, I was going from late model stock to super, so that was a little bit different. I had to just basically change my throttle inputs and my brake inputs. So just the difference in that, it's not too bad, but it's easy to get used to.
The Cup Series is at Sonoma this week. who's the guy you think's gonna win Sonoma?
I'm gonna go with Christopher Bell because
Okay.
he good at road courses and good all around racer.